This conference will now be recorded.
I hope you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Yes, Ranjit, I can say it.
okay, fine. So, first questions will be from my end. That in BTP, suppose we have to do some extensibility. If we have requirement to add custom tab in our Fury application, okay, and we have on-premise system,
Mm-hmm.
means it is HANA Cloud, okay, and client has taken BTP platform also. So in this way, how we can add the custom field with button through in our in-app extensibility. So if anyone want to answer it, so please.
So you have got HANA Cloud Public Edition or Private Edition, that is.
That is a public edition.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so we are thinking to do the addition of that custom tab through in-app extensibility in a standard Fury app, and then we will transfer that extended Fury app in our BTP platform. Okay, so if anyone
No,
worked
you
on
want to
similar kind of it,
deploy that.
I
So you mean
want
to
to
say you have a
deploy.
standard app?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I have a
Yeah.
standard app and I have to add one custom tab there. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
in custom tab, I will add some buttons that on that buttons I have to perform some actions. But what is the best practice to achieve this?
That is interesting question. As you are in public cloud,
Hmm.
I am not sure if that can be achieved. Like we will not be able to deploy that Fury app again after the changes to public cloud. So
Okay,
this particular area, I'm not sure. I have never worked with public cloud, to be very honest. So I'm
okay,
not sure if that
no
can be
problem.
workable. But if we are in on-premise or private cloud, this is very much possible. We are doing
Okay,
it.
fine, fine. Can
Yeah.
you explain in that scenario how to achieve that?
Yeah, in that scenario, you can add any boxes like any enhancement or extensions in your Fury application. You can do that, and then you have to
Mhm.
deploy it back to your on-premise or the private cloud S/4HANA version, S/4HANA server. Then that is workable.
Okay, so
So
business context means I have found something that through business
Mhm.
context we can add our custom tab there and we can write our custom logic. So
Yes, yes.
anyone,
You
yeah.
that
Mhm.
page map generator or the extension generator, something is there. I don't remember that exact name at this moment. Using
Mhm.
that, you can add your custom field, custom tab in the Fury standard Fury app extension, and then you can
Okay,
deploy it back to your on-premise or private edition server.
okay, fine. So Anupam, if you will find any supportive document where a step by step they will mention, so
Hmm.
please share. Okay.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
I can add some comment on this.
Yes, please,
Yeah,
please. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it's possible. Like because I have done this
Okay.
work.
Okay.
Basically, what you need to do is in the
Mhm.
BTP.
Mhm.
So let's say it's an on-premise system, right? So I'm not talking about cloud. On-premise as
Mhm.
for HANA, and you have
Mhm.
a cloud connector. Through the
Mhm.
cloud connector, you can create a destination. Okay,
Okay.
and then you go into your bash. There's an option called extensible Fiori, so standard one.
Mhm.
So once you
Mhm.
do, you need to choose the module. So let's say you
Mhm.
wanna do a sales order extension. So
Mhm.
it's have some number, let's say FA001. You can go to the
Mhm.
standard Fiori apps, grab the ID.
Mhm.
If you
Mhm.
provide the ID in the bash, it will give you
Mhm.
the all the package, okay? And then
Mhm.
you will start importing all the project back into the bash, and then
Mhm. Mhm.
what you do is there is an option in the JS called extension. I don't know what's the name, custom.js,
Okay.
something like that.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
you provide the whatever you want to create, like a page or tab or button, and
Mhm.
then you start
Mhm.
writing some logic on the action, whatever you want. And then
Mhm.
you can also see the real-time changes on the bash, okay, whatever you add.
Okay.
Once you add,
Mhm.
um, then you deploy back into the server. So when you
Mhm.
deploy, it will ask you some create the package. So you create the
Mhm.
package, you create the add into the template, and then
Mhm.
once you deploy, it will create some ABAP. Yeah, you need to give your S4 HANA all the system information.
Mhm.
It will deploy,
Mhm.
and then once you deploy back, and if you see the app, the standard app, it will see all those changes. So yeah, it's possible. So I
Okay.
hope it was a little bit more descriptive, but yeah, that's the right way to do.
Okay. Good to know. Thanks, Anupam. And sorry, Padminder
Yeah, it's a
Gaurang, right?
Padmindra
Yeah.
Gurung. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah. 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 Thanks for your input. Okay. So, any other person can ask your questions, or if you want to add something in context to previous questions, so please carry on. Hey, hi, Mohit.
Hello everyone. Very
Yeah.
good evening to all of you.
Yeah, good evening.
Hi
So,
Mohit, good
Mohit,
evening.
so we was started this discussion with first questions only. So, like other people can ask their query.
Sure.
Yes, Gaudo. Yeah, you want to add something? Guys, yes, please, yeah, ask any questions, anyone or anyone want to share any new updates that which everyone need to focus. Okay, okay. Second questions again from me. So suppose we are developed any cap project and we consume that cap in our Fury applications. Okay, so for transporting the our custom objects in to quality must be we need to send those changes through transport request, right? Like our on premise. So in BTP, how we need to do that? Best practice.
Yeah, I can take this up. So in
Okay, yeah, please.
BTP, we have to use the CI/CD and the CTMS service.
Hmm.
So what we generally use. So whenever we are making any new application, and then when we are pushing the code to some Git repository, then
Hmm.
the CI/CD pipeline will be triggered, and
Okay.
using the CI/CD pipeline, we will first deploy to the development sub account, and then using the CTMS, we move it to other sub accounts for QA and production. And we have multiple approvals in the CTMS at this moment. So I think the next plan is to integrate that with Cloud ALM, but I
Hmm.
have not done that yet. So that is how we
Okay.
generally do. We create the application, use CI/CD and CTMS,
Hmm.
move to different other sub accounts.
Okay. So any other person worked on Klaus
Yeah,
ALM?
yeah. I can add the same comment on what who said Anupam. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like
Yeah.
I'm using from phone, so I have to see the name every
No
time.
problem. No problem. No
Yeah.
problem.
No problem.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. So now you have lots of the third party software, like what we use is Jira. Okay, so you create all your repository in the Jira, and you can create a pipeline or whatever, or maybe you can create a different branch. Okay, so you can create a three different brands, let's say dev, QA, prod. So every changes, you can keep your code different brands. Okay, so uh, and you can also add the approval in the middle. So definitely some expert will be sit in the middle, so he can verify all the brands, he can test whatever. This is a little bit the key to way how we do, but there is also another way, manual. Okay, so you can extract your project directly, you deploy into BTP in different system. So that's also possible,
No,
but it's
that
not
is
good practice.
possible. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
what I'm saying, it's not good practice. But in short, like if you are running out of time, you don't have time to do all this integration, and you have to deliver this work as soon as possible, and you think like, okay, maybe we can do those a little when you have good time. So yeah, you can do that way very quick and fast, because we are doing that way same way. But yeah,
Mhm.
a better way is use some Jira, or better way, and then you create different brands and then have a approval in the middle. That could be a best practice. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that
Okay.
will be the best means using different branches for different server, and that proves you are using a mature DevOps practice. But in
Mhm.
most of
Yeah,
the
you're right.
clients, yeah, in most of the clients, they are still using one or two branches, one for development, another for support. So again, that is another challenge for
Yeah,
the bit.
that's what, like,
bit
some client
yeah,
they don't use, like, for
yeah.
me, like our client, they don't use anything. We totally depend on us, how we do. So even you
Okay,
don't need those
okay.
brands. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So yeah. So maybe just to add couple of points here, whatever you guys have mentioned. So basically, to me, DevOps seems to be a very bigger topic. It's not just we are pushing our code maybe from one landscape to another landscape. It seems to be a very, very bigger topic, like what should be, like as you discussed about the best practices and all, right? So we have so many, we can introduce so many, like the best practices, checks, recommendation, etc. Like suppose you want to measure your security, vulnerability, all these things, so that can be integrated with the sonar cubes. If you want to perform all the security, if you want to perform all the static checks, everything. So basically, all these things are pretty much possible if we have a proper dedicated DevOps team with the SAP provided CI/CD service. Still, there are many limitations, and we can do just a basic kind of the CI/CD deployment. So if you want to set up your whole and rigorous CI/CD and all these things, so probably you need to take or you need to involve DevOps people as as early as possible in any of the BTP projects. Yeah. So this few lines I just thought to update. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, Mohit.
Great.
That's true.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Mohit. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right, I agree with
Sure.
him. Absolutely. Yep, bang on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Sure.
Okay. Next question. Anyone want to ask?
Hello, this is Dinesh here. I hope I can ask a question
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Please.
So I'm kind of new to BTP. I'm a traditional ABAP developer. So hearing these new features in BTP with respect to extensibility, right? Especially the CAPM development framework. Uh, Recently, I've been hearing that it has certain advantage over the new ABAP development model, right? In terms of cost and flexibility. So I was wondering, as an ABAP developer, what is the rate of adoption of CAPM or ABAP? Is it like the new language or model of development to learn rather than ABAP uh, as as an upgraded skill or something?
Yeah, hi Dinesh. Let me just add my points. So there is a controversial topic, ABAP versus CAPM. I tend to be a fan of CAPM, not the cloud version of ABAP at this moment. So all the words I will be speaking in favor of CAPM, not in favor of ABAP on cloud. Maybe you will find some other person who is in favor of ABAP on cloud, but not on CAPM. So my point is, if you want to learn CAPM, that will be the best for BTP, but it will be a different language and different model or different framework, whatever you say. So you have to learn a bit of Node.js. That is the very basic requirement. Then you have to understand how the CAPM framework is placed over Node.js and how the build, development, deployment, everything works. It is a bit different from how we were doing in ABAP, but to me, it is a robust way of doing things. ABAP is in ABAP we have many limitations. The database is only HANA Cloud we can use at this moment in BTP, but in CAPM you can find HANA Cloud, PostgreSQL at this moment, and then also the costing part, that is also tricky. For ABAP on cloud, the costing model is different, but for CAPM the costing model is different. So I see the benefit lies with CAPM, but you'll have people with different opinion as well.
Okay, thanks for that answer, Anupam. Just to follow up, is Kappa most widely used only for SaaS or side-by-side kind of developments? And because on-prem or private cloud, right? I think developer extensibility is the default. So by default, does ABAP have an advantage over CAPM in those implementations versus the side-by-side one? Or can CAPM also be used uh, in
No,
on-prem private?
CAPM, no, CAPM cannot be used on-prem. So when you are choosing to do something on BTP, then my choice will be CAPM. But if you are doing something on on-premise server or public private cloud server, then we don't have any choice other than ABAP. But that ABAP is also the RAP ABAP or the newer version of ABAP, not the. I will not recommend to use classical ABAP anymore. Wherever possible, we should use the new version of ABAP on-premise.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for
So
your
we
answer.
cannot discard ABAP. ABAP will be there. In
Mm,
my opinion, ABAP will be there for long, but I hope it will be confined to the specific SAP S/4HANA servers, or either on-premise or private cloud. That is my opinion, personal opinion.
okay. Okay. So in this case, is CAPM only necessary when you have to build a app from ground up, rather than simple extensions?
Yeah, extensions, ground up, everything you can do with CAPM. In CAPM, you can do anything you can do with Node.js or any other like server-side language like Java, Python, .NET.
Okay. The reason is like in SAP you have the logical unit of work, right? When you're starting a transaction or a Fury app. Uh,
Hmm.
I heard that ABAP, works on the same level on within the same LUW, but CAPM will also work like that, or is it like more like independent calls when
It
you
will
talk
be
about
more like
extents?
independent calls. It is based on the microservices principle. So
Okay.
whatever you are developing, so it will be a bit of a different experience, I would say.
Okay. So, like for fit to standard scenario or out of the box standard, I think CAPM is not that much needed, right? If you would say in terms of
No, for
extensions,
that,
if you,
yeah, for those CAPM is not required. But if we are doing something in BTP, but if we are deploying something in BTP, how can we ensure that the same LUW from BTP and on-premise is ensured? That cannot be ensured, right? If we are making some extension application using ABAP on cloud, that will be on different LUW, and your
okay,
on-premise actions will be on different LUW, obviously. You cannot achieve
oh,
same LUW for your on-premise workload and cloud workload.
okay, okay. Thanks, Anmol, for the answer. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, guys. Okay, next questions. Ron, you was asking something uh, like CAPM. Can we use CAPM on premise? No, as Anupam answered, we can't use in on premise development. Okay. Okay. Anyone want to ask other question?
Do you have any real-time scenarios to use CAPM?
Yeah, there are many scenarios we are using CAPM. So like I can give you an example. When we are doing something event-driven architecture, we need some filtering. Then we are using CAPM to filter all those things. Like we are getting some data from on-premise system, and we are using event mesh for that. Then from the event mesh, we are using a CAPM layer to filter the data, whatever data we need, whatever we don't need, and then we are passing that to integration suite. So that is one common example most of the projects are using wherever they're using the the event mesh service. And another thing, this is one of the favorite area for mine. So there, out of SAP, there are many applications we run in the landscape. Those are built in
Mm-hmm.
Java, those are built in .NET, right? So using
Mm-hmm.
CAPM, you can bring all this to your BTP environment. And there are few clients who have done that already. There are few clients who are doing it already. So maybe they have some 20 years old .NET applications running in their landscape. Now they are completely refactoring those applications to BTP using CAPM.
Mm-hmm. So BTP comes into picture when customer has SAP landscape, right?
Yeah, otherwise there is no point of using that. You can have BTP without SAP landscape. No one is going to stop
Yep.
you.
It,
But
it doesn't make any sense if you are not having any SAP landscape. And then the
yeah, it
next
doesn't make
question
any
would
sense.
be from customer's point of view. Means they may ask this question. So if we are trying to rebuild the application, why can't we rebuild using the RAP or any other interface which SAP supports rather than
Yeah, you,
CAPM?
you can you can use it in the RAP, but the costing perspective, if we see from the cost perspective, if we see from the development timeline perspective, I see CAPM we can do cheaper and we can do faster. That is my opinion.
But
When I
no, I'm
compare
just
it
trying
with
to
SAP,
compare it. Mhm. I'm just trying to compare it with since we are going to build the applications from the scratch, be it RAP or be it CAPM. So
mhm.
would be feasible to go for RAP rather than the CAPM? Because RAP is since it's SAP landscape, so any customer would love to go for the known interface or platform.
Yeah, but the point is we have more JavaScript developers in the world compared to ABAP developers.
You know,
So
since I'm coming from the SAP background, so thinking from the customer hat.
yeah, there is a ask from customers to use RAP, but we are able to give them some examples where we can demonstrate that using RAP it might take them longer time to develop and it might cost them higher. That way we are able to convince them that CAPM will be the better framework for them when they are using the extensibility on BTP.
Hmm. Since RAP is also free, right? Means there are no licensing charges.
No, there is not free. Per service of
Yeah.
RAP, you have to pay 2,270 euro per month. If you want to have a three-tier landscape, development, quality, and production, your client
Mm-hmm.
has to pay at least 8,000, 9,000 for that, right? So that is the bare minimum cost to run a ABAP environment on BTP. Whereas if you want to run CAPM, 1 GB is 70 euro only. So 512 MB will be enough for any applications,
For
smaller applications we are building.
on-premises, it's free, right?
Yeah, for on-premises it is free.
Right. Okay. Do you have any costing details about the services on cloud?
Yeah, you can go to discovery.sap.cloud. I think you will get all the information of all the services there,
Mm-hmm.
and that is part of my daily work. So I remember most of the prices, but
Okay, great,
you can go and check all the prices.
great. And the next question is like build. SAP has come up with build now.
Yeah,
So is it going to replace integration suite because it does the similar work?
no. It cannot replace integration suite. Build is different. Integration suite is completely different. Integration
But
suite is for the integration workload. Any kind of integration we'll be doing with any third-party systems, integration suite will be required. So as per SAP's plan, they will remove PIPO by 2030 at this moment. So the only option will be integration suite at that point of time. But build is for building faster applications, no code, low code based applications and workflows, automations. That is where builds is placed. It can be a competitor for Power BI, Power Platform of Microsoft, but not the integrations part as a whole. It doesn't have that much of capability to do any kind of integration, in my knowledge.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's right. Adding on the same point, integration suite is totally different. I mean,
Yeah.
and whereas built is a new product from SAP. It got released like just I think it's very new in the market. It's the motive is just provide low code, no code, so you can create an app within, I mean, like within 5 minutes, just small demo or prototype app. Whereas the if you want to do some kind of integration, definitely you use CPI. The CPI have a different architecture, different story, different landscape, everything is different. It doesn't comes with build. Build is more like low code, no code. You can deploy app in your mobile. It can run any device. uh, the more main focus for build is just to motive citizen developer do better job and do less coding, so something like that. So if I'm not wrong, thank you.
Right.
Yeah, you are right. But the adoption
Uh,
is very less, what I have seen so far.
yeah, and I would add maybe here, like from the SAP point of view or a SAP presentation, it seems to be a very citizen developer tool or the low code, no code tool. Once you guys will do your hands dirty and will go deep inside the real time scenarios, probably based on my experiences so far, we will not be able to deliver complete low code, no code tool, and it has many limitations as of now. So it will take some, even the basic things like the exception handling and the few basic things is not has been given by the SAP build process automation so far. So
Yeah,
probably
that's
needs to
that's
wait.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's what, like, we use Neptune. Is another brilliant tool which
yes.
provide everything. So yeah, SAP
Mm.
build is still not adapting in the market at this moment, have lots of
Neptune
limitations.
purpose, I would say it a bit different. Neptune is useful when we want to develop the kind of the complete offline applications and a complete Android based or complete native application. Then Neptune Mendix would be a good option. But the SAP build a purpose, SAP had given a completely different selling point is the low code, no code citizen based tool. Yeah.
So does it give the native apps or means what kind of application we can build?
Yeah, so it would be like a typical our kind of the application which we develop by our Fury based or like the Kapam based application. So more or less the application look and feel it will be same, and and actually it is not only for the application development. If you want to automate the whole process, say your data is flowing from one system or one process, and you want to complete maybe the means, suppose you have a process A, and with the process A input you want to complete process B. So between process A and process B you need to perform hundreds of activities, you need to call 50 APIs, you need to manipulate the data and all those things. So those kind of the automations and all the things has been preferred by the SAP build process automation. So what I want to convey here is that it's not only for the typical UI development or the typical development. Instead of
Mhm.
this, most of the clients are currently using for the automate their existing processes. Like as I mentioned, the process A will start from the event from the say from the system one, and you need to complete the process B based on the input of that data. So those kind of the automations also we can perform with the SAP Build Process Automation. We can integrate quickly APIs. We can write transformations. We can do the like the looping, etc. All those things. So yeah. So
So
those
some part
kind of
of
features.
integration. So
So as Anupam mentioned, integration suit the purpose purpose and the objective is completely different. It is for the integrations mostly when you are designing the iFlows and or it is best for your API management and all these things. For the different adopters, you would be there to handle the different integration processes and all. So the purpose of the integration suite and uh, it would be completely different. And the SAP build process automation is to automate or to develop the low code, no code based automations. Am I making
Hmm.
sense?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
that's
trying to understand
something that.
because SAP built I never worked on. So just trying to
Mm.
compare or relate.
Yeah, understand. Yeah. So the process is sorry,
Oh, Allah.
the tool is still not matured. I would say wait for a few more
Mana
months
moi जान्छु
to
म
get
ल्याउँछु
the
कि
tool matured. Then because they for the Q1 and Q2 of 24 they are releasing many new features which will be solving lot of real world problem. So I think then wait for a few months and then do your hands dirty for SAP build process automation.
Hmm. Hmm.
So currently we are evaluating the tool and we have a daily call with SAP for a lot of limitations and all. So I think it will take still 6 months to get the tool to reach the enough maturity level. Then I think it would be good for the real time use cases and all.
Hmm.
Yeah, true. And though there are some use cases around BTP process automation, build process automation, but I have not seen any client using build apps for their production environment. I have not seen it.
Exactly. So we are currently promoting it, but I am already stuck in various projects and all, and so means I'm having daily fight with SAP and all these things because of many limitations
I
and
can
every step.
understand.
Just
I
on
can
the lighter
understand,
note,
Mohit.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, so the tool is not matured yet. It will take some time to get it complete matured. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Great, great. Thanks, guys.
I think the most mature part of BTP is the integration suite. You can completely rely on that.
That's
Yes.
true.
That is the, yeah,
Even I would say the typical application development, the CAPM application development and all, it's very much matured. Now the integration with the various
Mhm.
services and all, it's means like the documentation perspective also now I think many blogs and the SAP CAP document itself, the standard help document is matured enough. So we can build a lot of real applications and we have delivered hundreds of real applications as well. Yeah, but as I
Yeah,
said, build and all will take time.
yeah. There is another thing I wanted to highlight for everyone's sake. Like for CAPM, we have the application log generator where we can store all the application logs and you can monitor. But we don't have any API to bring those logs to a different system for archiving purpose or for further validation purpose. That is also we raised to SAP, but they said they have planned to bring some API for application log as well. They already have for audit log, but that is another challenging thing I faced. Like we are just storing the application log for 7 days, and someone is coming back. What happened? Maybe 30 days ago. We are not able to give them the exact scenario. What happened at that point of time?
Mm, agreed, agreed. The Kibana dashboard Elasticsearch will be valid only for
Yeah,
7 days and the
7 days.
log.
Yeah.
So just Anupam on the means you really brought very good point here for this application log thing. So actually for one of the scenario we also faced this kind of thing. So probably one of our team has developed some probably like see ultimately we can as you mentioned we don't have directly API. I agree with it, but I think we can call via CF logs and all right with the CLI commands. So if we can create the Docker
Yeah.
image of that CLI and all, so probably that way we can fetch the uh, CF logs and we can put it into our object store and all. So
Yes.
this is
Yes.
what currently we are doing for a few of the customers, right? So we have the
Mm.
7 days validity. So what we are doing, we have created some Capum wrapper on the top of it, and we are getting the logs via CF logs and putting it into the object store, AWS object store, basically, yeah, for the
Yeah.
cheaper
Yeah.
option.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
That
as
is the
a food for
workaround.
thought.
That is the workaround, but we have to pay for the Docker to run, and
Yes,
we have to
yeah.
maintain the other application as well. So
Yes. Even now I am struggling. You brought up for the pay things, na? So even now I am struggling for the to explain the business why we need the automation desktop agent for performing the simple loop. So
mm,
business is telling I am not paid for the creation of the data types using SAP build process automation.
yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good discussion. Yeah. If anyone want to ask any other question,
Yeah,
okay.
someone has
Any
asked a question: is BPA a replacement for classical and flexible workflow? No, definitely it is not. Those will be there in the S/4HANA system. But in case you need to build some workflow that will involve multiple other systems in the landscape, not only your S/4HANA, maybe you need to integrate with your success factors, Ariba, Salesforce, any of the other systems in the workflow, you can bring BPA.
no. Okay. Great. Anyone used a UI theme designer in BTP?
No, I have
Uh,
not used that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I have used, but I think it's not complicated. It's very pretty straight. But yeah, if you have questions, I can help you. Like yeah. Please go ahead.
Currently, I don't have any questions. Actually, I have to use, so just I was checking that who has work. So definitely, Kumar, I will reach. Okay.
Oh yeah, but in short note, I can just tell you like so UI5, you can use style.css just for like coloring and all whatever you want. But yes, theme is also another important part. But yes, what we recommend is mostly things what you get from style.css. Try to use that advantage number one, and then the theme. If you have specific colors, like if you want to do something better, theming logo and all, yeah, theme designer is good. But it's not so recommend like still you can achieve everything from the style. So that's all my answer.
Okay. Fine. Anyone want to ask any other question?
Actually, it's just one of my question to Anupam. He mentioned, Anupam, you mentioned with the CAPM layer, we are doing some event filtering and all. So,
Yeah.
can you give a more insight about it? Because actually, I need to use few of the architecture similar to that. With the SAP Build Process Automation, currently it's not possible. Just we can capture the standard events from the event mesh. So
Hmm.
I just want to understand your scenario, like for which scenarios, if possible, you can share or maybe later as well. So like how means with the CPI and the event mesh, how you are at first filtering all the events and passing to CPI maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's say we have a sales order. I'll give you the simplest example. And when we are using the event mesh, every sales order we are creating, the event will be triggered and it will be passed to BTP. But if we need a data for a particular sales organization at that point of time, before sending it to the final layer to integration suite or to build process automation for your case, so that filter we are doing in CAPM layer. Whether that particular sales org is relevant for that automation processing or relevant for integration suite to be processed, that particular thing we are checking in the CAPM layer, and we are using some database to HANA Cloud database to for the means if that particular sales organization is
Sales
relevant.
order. Yeah.
Yeah.
So probably, if my understanding is correct, you might have created a webhook of the CAPM application and
Yes, yes.
integrated in the event mesh, right? And that
Event mesh.
webhook is getting triggered, or uske baad you are calling that CPI API, maybe something like that.
Yes,
Like
yes.
what is the flow? Like the event come from your S4 to event mesh, then event mesh we have a queue you have assigned to the webhook of the CAPM service, right? And
Right,
that
exactly.
CAPM service will do all the filtering and all, and from the CAPM service you are calling the CPI API endpoint, something like that.
Yes, but here is a catch for our use case. We are getting the entire data from S/4HANA and passing that to CPI directly. But also you can pass just the business object details to CPI, and then CPI will fetch the all the details from S/4HANA. But here in the CAPM layer, we are fetching all the details and only sending the relevant information to CPI.
Okay, okay.
So we are making a gate call. I can say we are making a gate call to the S/4HANA system to get all the sales order details. For
Sales
our
order
us, it
detail
is
and
not the sales order. It is a custom application. But just to simplify that, I am taking the example of sales order.
okay, okay, understand. Thank you, Anupam.
No problem. You're welcome.
Yeah, for simplicity, I'm not sure like the architecture how Anupam is doing, but what I understand from the BTP's point of view, yeah, you can create your own API. So um, let's say reading the sales order, right? You can read the
Hmm.
sales order, and you can write the complex logic within the CAPM. So
Hmm.
let's say that after whatever you say, this dot re after yeah, SRV dot after, then you say okay, I calculate this and I want this kind of value. So you can do all those calculations within the CAPM. The catch here is CAPM will give you the API in terms it's the REST. I mean you can just call any API. It's an API. That API you can consume in any system via destination or directly like even CPI can consume. So yeah, that's my understanding. So basically, what you send into the CAPM, CAPM can read, it will calculate, it will give back your answer. So maybe, and I just want to understand. So that's to give you some additional information. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that is true.
Guys, one more question. Like, means we have S4 HANA where we build the custom Fury apps, and we have the full authority to, create our own roles with own catalogs, spaces, or groups. And how does it work on the cloud system, Cloud S4? Does it have the same uh, architecture, or how is it?
No, I have not worked with the S/4HANA cloud version, so I'm not sure how we means if you can at all deploy any Fury app to the cloud S/4HANA system.
No, actually, that's what I wanted to understand is how this cloud version works, because we have got the cloud version, but
No, no.
I'm trying to explore more things on this.
Yeah, see, on cloud, it's essentially the same. It's just that you might go for custom communication scenarios, but you still have the business, roles, which are
So
like
we
business
can do
like
the
your backend.
custom, we can do the customization.
Yeah. See, there is if you go to this extensibility, if you have the extensibility role, you will see all of those apps. Okay, you can create your roles and all that part is possible. So typically we copy roles in backend, right? Same thing you can do it in S4 Cloud also. You can
So what
customize the
interface
roles.
does it actually means when we ask the basis guys to give us the access to S4 HANA, they gave the Launchpad URL access, and I'm not sure whether they have enough idea about how this cloud version works. So just trying to help them also to get the necessary resources. I wanted to do the extension of the application, or you can say a custom application, which should be deployed to the cloud version of S4HANA and create some custom roles, some spaces to get that application on the launchpad of
It's the
cloud.
same. It's the same concept. It is just that work with the cloud apps.
So, what interface will you use to log into the cloud version? It's a
Interface, no, no.
GUI.
See, every S4. No. See, everything is a Fury app, right? In S4 public cloud, okay. So
Mm-hmm.
every app is a cloud app. I mean, sorry, every app is a
Okay.
Fury app. So you will
Mm-hmm.
each whenever the customer gets an S4 public cloud, he will get an IP address. I mean, he will get a URL, yeah, the tenant URL. We call
Mm-hmm.
it as tenant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in that particular cloud tenant, the customer will log in and do typical activities, yeah, for development. Okay. And now with embedded steampunk coming in, okay, so we should go for embedded steampunk and not the typical key user extensibility. So we used to have key user extensibility, right?
Mm-hmm.
Earlier, especially in S4 public cloud. Now with developer extensibility coming in, so we have we are back to kind of on-premise. Yeah, you can develop everything in backend. You have your IAM apps, IAM catalogs, IAM roles, business catalog. Everything is possible via this. We call it as IAM content.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we should not, like I said, we should not go for typical custom business object, custom CDS views, all those apps which we used to have earlier. With three-tier landscape coming into picture in public cloud, it's more like, what you imagine, yeah, what you think how for development. You have three systems: development, quality, production, yeah, and you move your objects, yeah, and you basically wherever possible go for uh, go for developer extensibility or embedded steampunk. Okay, if it is a quick thing, for example, you just want to add field, so custom field and logic app is still relevant. Yeah, that does not go away. But for other,
No,
if you want to develop query apps and all those things,
actually,
you have to.
I have not gone to that point yet. So my first hurdle was, so how to get into the S4 HANA system is what interface. So for example, let's see, we have on-premises, so we'll use the GUI to log in, right?
Mhm.
So from GUI we can see all the interface or all the information, whatever we want. So to get into the S4 HANA cloud, so what interface we'll use? From that point, actually, I'm
See,
coming
it's a
from, and
UI.
then
You just have, like I said, you don't have backend access. You just have, I mean, even
some
if you have
URL.
backend access, it's a URL. Okay, you do all of your configuration via. If you're talking about SPRO kind of thing, yeah, you have this activate methodology, right, in cloud.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Mm-hmm.
activate your, I mean, that's a functional thing, but I can just help you. There is a dedicated customizing client, okay,
Mm-hmm.
where you activate the best business practices like scope items, yeah, which you
Mm-hmm.
can follow it in on-premise also, but in on-premise, right, they will directly go to SPRO. But in cloud, this is the only way possible. You have this SAP activate methodology, yeah, where you just activate the
Okay.
configuration and you configure them. And you, if you want to have like an SPRO content, you also have this SSC UIs, self configuration UIs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just
Mm-hmm.
about getting
Do
used to uh,
Do you have any
the apps
blogs,
being
Miss,
used
which
to.
you can refer for start with on
For
the how
SAP
to?
Activate, I guess there is also an open SAP course. But yeah,
Uh,
you will find that. I mean, because I'm more from a technical background, so I can tell you what I did. So, like one of the
yeah, I mean,
people
sir.
were saying what email
Um,
mesh and all those things are much easier in cloud compared to on-premise. I mean, on-premise really, you have a lot of things to play around, but in cloud they made it simpler by this custom communication scenarios and apps. Yeah. So if you want to expose any API, yeah, you have to create a communication scenario so that outside world can consume it. For example, BTP cap or whatever.
actually, I'm just comparing the cloud with the on-premises. So let's say we have some business process.
Don't compare. Don't compare. That's what. See, you are basically working with Fiori apps. Okay, if you are thinking that there will be like an SPRO, no SPRO. Yeah, it's all about SAP Activate. If you are thinking what exposing of APIs via like you do in MENT service, right, in your SPRO, I mean in your backend, there's nothing like that. You have to go for custom communication scenarios. So there is an alternative for everything.
Which one?
I'm saying there is an alternative for every activity you used to do it in backend on on-premise. Say for example, if you want to do a trace, there is an app for that. Okay, so like that. I mean, if you have any specific question, then I can
Yeah,
help
yeah,
you.
Miss building the custom application. Let's say
Huh.
we have some auditor services, or we wanted to build some custom auditor services, and then that custom auditor services we
Hmm.
wanted to utilize in some of custom Fury apps, or let's say,
Exactly. Exactly.
and that
Exactly.
custom
Exactly.
Fury app
So,
we wanted to deploy to the cloud version, and that application we need to display on
hmm.
the cloud launchpad. The same scenario, on-premises
Yeah,
scenario, I
yeah,
just
yeah.
wanted to
Exactly.
replicate on the.
I got it. So, have you worked on RAP? I mean, non-premise?
Yes, yes, yes.
So it's the same thing. Okay. So basically, you create a package. Okay. And now,
Hmm.
because you're on public cloud, okay, you will not
Hmm.
have the only version of a web which will work is a web cloud. Yeah, in developer
Right.
extensibility. You cannot write select star from Mara, right, which you would have seen in TechTed
Hmm.
also. You have to go
Hmm.
for the CDS views based selections. All the released objects you have to do. Okay. You
Hmm.
basically your package will by default. I mean, I think there's already an package with something like Z, yeah, Z custom underscore development. Okay. So if you just on
Hmm.
SCP help, you'll find how to do, you know, developer extensibility. But basically, SCP gives a pre-delivered package.
Hmm.
Yeah, and once you have that package, you just create your app objects. Yeah, create your IAM apps. If you're talking about roles and catalogs, right? So there is an IAM content way
Hmm.
there. Okay, and then you simply use bash and you have your app ready, and then you deploy it to wherever you want on BTP or on like if you are anyways having S4 cloud, so you would most likely, like you said, you would like to use the S4 cloud launchpad itself, right? Then
Right, right,
you deploy it to backend itself.
right, right. Do you have any blocks to replicate
I
this
mean,
scenario?
when I did, see, I'm also not an expert on, like I did it for POC
Oh.
purpose, like for 3 months I was into a project. So, but I learned everything there. So basically, I followed developers.scp tutorial. So you have
Hmm.
like how to develop, how to deploy your Fury app, for example, from, BT, from Bash to your S4 Cloud. Okay, how do you create an IAM content? How do you create business
Hmm.
catalog there in, yeah, IAM content? Yeah. So
Right,
basically you
right.
have to,
So.
if like you see, it's like you would activate a no data service and then you will start configuring it, right? Same thing.
Hmm.
But it is just that you have to create something known as IAM content for everything. All of this comes as a IAM content. Business catalog and IAM roles. You have something known as IAM restriction type, which is more like
Hmm.
a filter. For example, if you want to do an instance, if you know CAP, I mean, there is something like an instance level authorization, right? For example, you're only authorized to see a particular sales order data. Okay.
Hmm.
So you
Hmm.
create something known as restriction type. Okay.
Okay.
So
So
it's
if you
more
can
like
refer
as
those
and when you
blogs, that
start.
would be really helpful. Means since so we are talking, so I can
I mean,
only
see,
relate things. But
there is not a single blog. I mean, if I had, I would have followed a lot of blogs maybe.
you
If
mentioned
someone
some
wants to.
tutorials, right? SAP tutorials.
Hi, for example, for deployment, I referred like developers.scp, okay, which everybody knows. Okay.
Okay.
See, if you are in a project, then only start learning, right? Because these things were, even not known to me before I started working. I know this sound might little crazy when I tell you, okay, you do this, do that, but eventually everything will fall into place. Okay, so, but yeah, so very generically, I've told you already, yeah, what are the steps? Yeah, and then for
Hmm.
example, you can create business roles also. Okay, there is an app for that. Okay, under extensibility. See, moment any developer should have the extensibility role. Okay,
Hmm.
I don't remember the name, but it is like BC underscore core underscore extensibility, something like that. Okay. So if all the developers should have that. Once you have that, you will start seeing all of these styles, all of these apps which are relevant to, your technical development. And then you need to have a trust setup. Yeah. Via
Mm-hmm.
another app, there is an app called maintain extension on BTP, something like that. Okay. Or maintain BTP extension, which will basically just do a trust configuration. It will create destination and really add the trust certificate exchange, ML exchange. Everything will be done automatically. But if somebody is not comfortable, he can still go to communication system, create, add the communication logical system. All those things you can do manually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I have worked on both CAP and RAP. I was fortunate enough, so I can tell you what is good in RAP and what is good in CAP. I mean, if somebody really wants to hear, but yeah, I mean, once you work, you'll anyways understand.
Yeah, miss, there are a lot of talks. Miss
Yeah.
customer, miss, it's very difficult to convince customer to choose between wrap and cap.
No, 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 no. That is where your job comes into picture. I mean, I think I don't know about your customer, but at least the customers where I have worked, I mean, they had really good architects. Okay, they are really forcing us to go for cap. Okay, because we all know, you can use n number of libraries and packages in cap, right? Even if something is not possible, let's say it is in the framework, you can still use if the client allows. Okay, but again, you have to look at scenarios. For example, one of the scenarios we had to have something like a key user body, right? We didn't have any cloud body. Okay, because we didn't have any
Mm-hmm.
cloud body, so we could not go for creation of cap APIs and calling that within the cloud, within the key user body. That's not possible. Okay, then it's a very tightly integrated scenario. So if you see all of the SAP tech, they'll say, okay, if you have like tightly integrated scenario, go for wrap. But if it is loosely coupled and you feel that it has to be multi-tenant, loosely coupled, so many services, so many APIs coming into picture, process automation, I mean, n number of scenarios. Okay, so if that kind of flexibility we want to talk to different systems, then obviously cap is the choice. But it's not that. I mean, in fact, in BTP, ABAP environment also, you can do all of these things, but people have not explored it. I myself have not explored. For example, if you want to call it BTP DMS API, it's possible in BTP ABAP, but have I done it? No. Have many people done it? No. So you might see in going forward in 1 or 2 years a lot of blogs on all of these services, which CAP has been doing it for years. Maybe 3 4 years I would say, but RAP also is doing it, but it's just that people are not aware.
Yeah, that's the reason I said, na, it's very difficult to convince customer between RAP and cap.
No, 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 no. See, again, I told you the reason, right? You being a technical person, you have to understand, does the functionality reside only in S4? If I just have to call S4, BAPI, API, yeah, I mean, that's a simple scenario. We are
Very
not
first
talking
question from a customer is, we are from
uh,
SAP background, so why we should go for the non-SAP? For example,
Arey
this cap.
yaar,
Let's
I just
let's.
see first you have to open your mind. See, you yourself are asking me when I'm trying to answer you, right? See, how to what I did you understand when I said if it's a tightly integrated scenario, that should be the first
I
scenario.
didn't understand a word what you said, Vipin. I'm coming from a customer. I'm wearing a customer hat, and you need to answer
You
from
are
a
a developer,
customer.
right? I mean, you
Forget
are
about that.
like an
Forget about that.
architect or okay.
Forget about
Hmm.
that. I'm coming from a
Hmm.
customer hat, and
So
I
if you are
wanted
coming
to
from a
understand.
customer hat, my straight away answer question would be who is going to use the app? That customer would know. Is it an S4 business user
Of
or
course,
is it some? Okay, if it's an S4 business user, then I would think mainly about RAP now. Okay.
that's what.
Now my second.
There you
No,
go.
no, just hear me out. Okay. Now, is there any third-party integration involved? Are you going to use some data? For example, are you going to get some rating from a third-party agency? Okay, is the third-party agency does it give me a REST API? Okay, so moment this comes, then CAP wins over here. Okay, So now you're crossing your S4 boundaries, right? I
Mm-hmm.
hope this makes sense. Now, are you going to integrate any workflow? Today you have a simple process, but what if this process turns out to be a huge thing? If it's a simple Fiori app with no interaction third-party system, just go for you're just making use of some local data. For example, I'll give you a scenario. If you have to create a reporting Fiori app, like we all get AC DOCA and all that business data, right? It's a normal
Mm-hmm.
reporting. Maybe one or two APIs getting called within the system after you've analyzed the data. Then it's a tightly integrated scenario. You would go for RAP. That's what I meant. What is tightly integrated, what is not tightly integrated. Now, imagine there is a scenario where my user is not an S4 user. It is some worker who is working in a site. He does not know anything about S4 HANA or SAP world itself. Then and then because he is an part of your organization, yeah, he will just log in his IDP and simply start using the application. He does not care about, okay, you just train him, okay, bhaiya, these are the fields, you just put it and submit. Okay, for example, one of the scenarios was if we have to create an safety incident, right? Typical worker thing, right? So any worker who works in that plant, he can just log a safety incident, right? He does not worry about S4 HANA, and he will just say, a customer will say, he will simply log in using the his own laptop, and he should be able to do what he has to do. Then it's a CAP application, because single sign-on is very difficult to achieve in you know I mean, it's not a tightly integrated scenario, to be very clear, right? To be very frank. Then it's a CAP. Yeah, you have your portal and all those things coming to which I think Mohit already knows all of this, but just to help you where I'm coming from. So these are the questions which you have to understand first. Who is going to be using it? Is it tightly integrated? Do you intend to use any workflows in future? Right? So all the things are there. Nobody creates. I've not seen any person who is in S4 cloud. He will go for flexible workflow. I know flexible workflow is equally good, but I have not never created any flexible workflow. So I'm not comfortable there. It is more like a customization to me. If SAP gives me flexible, I can add an approver or simple things. But if you have to fully customize it, fully, change it, yeah, call another API or do this and that, then I will have to go for BTP workflow. Now, BTP workflow integration with inside, RAP API, you will not have principal propagation. Okay, so such limitations are there, and that's when cap and all those things really start getting gelled up with each other.
Okay. All
Eh,
right.
and nice explanation, Vipin. So, guys, let's in time interest, let's close this session. So, like very soon, I will schedule other session for our
Yeah,
other queries. Okay.
I would highly advise to focus on one thing and not really do both the things, wrap cap. Okay, focus on one, otherwise we'll be lost. I mean, because sometimes I get confused. I worked on Java, I worked on Node.js, cap, wrap. Okay, so sometimes I'm like, okay, yaar, matlab, it was easy. It was, so I would suggest to focus on one thing. Nothing is getting away. Okay, both have their
Nice
different.
suggestion, but sometime happen like client ask us to provide solution in RAP or in CAP. So sometimes like we confused.
See, cap is very easy to learn if you know UI5, if you know JavaScript fundamentals. Okay, it's a piece of cake. Within 3 days, you will become an cap expert. If you have Fiori developers separately, then they have to know it basically. But if you are an ABAP guy, you are not comfortable with you might have done it in Fiori elements. I would say to really focus on RAP. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Okay, guys, so then I'm closing this session. Oh, anyone have any question? Okay, then I'm closing this session. We will meet again. Okay, thank you everyone. Bye.